Hello everybody, welcome back to the United Stand. 5 midfield options Manchester United should be looking at signing ASAP. These people in midfield are outrageous. They're up-and-coming talents. They're ranging from about 21 to 23, I believe. They're all situated across Europe and the world. Some of them you're going to have heard of, some of them you're not going to have heard of, I'm going to say. We'll start off with Enzo Fernandez. I'm here with Beth today discussing what we know, firstly, about Enzo Fernandez. So he's 21. He's obviously heavily linked with Manchester United. He's roughly, well, Transfer Market have his value at around 35 million euros. He is deployed as that deep-lying playmaker. He loves to kind of dictate play and recycle possession. He's almost a little bit similar to a younger Casemiro, but that's his role at Benfica. Obviously, I don't think that's what his role would be at Manchester United, but you've seen what he's been able to do for Argentina, so what do you think he could add to Manchester United? I think he can add a lot. I think we've been looking at the likes of Jude Bellingham, Frenkie de Jong. I think if you want to go for, I mean, he will be definitely a cheaper option than both of them too, but I still think he's going to be expensive, especially after this World Cup, because I actually touted him as my breakout star in this World Cup because of how highly I've rated him for Benfica. Obviously watching the Champions League, seeing him this season, 21 years old, boss in the midfield, and as well Argentinian. They've got that grit, they've got that bite. He's just everything that you would want as a midfielder at Manchester United, and I'm not getting carried away because I've looked at this player quite a lot and watched him for Argentina on the big stage. He stepped up again. He should be starting. Said that numerous times, and I think for Manchester United he would be more of a box-to-box midfielder. So say if we had Casemiro and Bruno as mainstays in the team, I think he would maybe alternating in with Eriksen. Do you know what I mean? Is an Eriksen type role. Yeah. Is the number 8 that helps Casemiro out but also gets forward a little bit with Bruno as well. But this guy looks top quality. He's young. I think there's room for development. I think someone is going to snap him up. There's been rumours that Arsenal are interested, other top flight clubs. I think if Manchester United are looking at the likes of Jude Bellingham and Frenkie de Jong, that are, of course, they are top players, but if you can't manage to get one of them, or even if you want to go down a different road of kind of developing a player and going for someone young like Enzo Fernandez, Jude's young as well, but maybe instead of Frenkie de Jong, this is the guy to go for, because I do think he's going to reach the top level and his talent is brilliant. You've seen it for Argentina as well, that people are only just seeing this guy now. That goal he scored for Argentina was just a glimpse of the quality that he has, and defensively good too, which is I think a stat which sticks out for me is he's nearly doing 15 passes into the final third. That's being deployed as the deep line playmaker. Nearly 9 long passes per 90 as well. I think the thing again which sticks out is he's very press resistant, which is something that Man United players weren't at the start of the season, and now we're showing we're showing something that, you know, we are possibly getting a lot better at that. But enough about Enzo Fernandez. We'll move on to Yusuf Fafana. Now, this guy, again, young, 23, currently playing at Monaco. Roughly worth about the same, 25 million euros. His contract is up, I believe, actually in 2024. He's more deployed as a box-to-box midfielder. He's played, actually, alongside Tchouaméni before he moved, obviously, on to Real Madrid. He is involved in the France World Cup squad again. He's played a few minutes for them, I'm pretty sure. So what I know about him really is, as I said, he's deployed as a box-to-box midfielder. He's strong, he's athletic, he's a progressive passer again, but he's very happy to almost play that 6 and 8 role. He's happy to anchor play. What do you make of Yusuf Fafana?
I mean, I've not seen too much of him, I'm going to be honest, but I've definitely heard about him and I've seen stuff of him. I've not seen him enough, I would say, to comment really. My comment might not be of the highest level from what I have seen of him, but he looks good. But I always think with these type of players, again in Ligue 1, it's really hard to judge them if you've not seen too much of them. I think you automatically look at Scott McTominay and Fred and think, well, he'd be better than them. Like, bring him in, good squad player to have. But at the same time, we've seen us do that before, and then McTominay and Fred still benches them. So I do think there's definitely potential there for him. Again, young, fresh, and I think there's potential for him if he comes. I do think he'd get game time. Yeah. I think he's got that there for him, and again, a role that we really, really desperately need, because I think we're going to let Fred go in the summer, which I would say is the right thing to do. 30 years old, and he's just not offering what needs to be offered. But McTominay will probably stay as the likes of a squad player, but we need someone to keep competing with Eriksen in that position. I think you think this guy has potential
I
to do it.
I think the main thing with, in my opinion, on Fafana again, and it's going to be similar with all these guys, is they are young and they are able to be moulded into that midfielder, and because they're versatile and they're playing multiple roles at the same time at this current minute, that you can just, in a better team, you can go, okay, you might play less games, but the games you are going to play is going to be the position you're going to play for the rest of your career. Working
under the likes of Casemiro and Eriksen and stuff as well for him.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. We'll move on to Cheick Doucouré, who was actually linked a little bit to Manchester United the summer just gone. He has moved to Crystal Palace. 22, again, around the 30 million mark. Obviously, as I said, he's just moved, so his contract is up in 2027. So you would be looking at paying kind of what they want. Now, this guy purely usually is played as that defensive midfielder. Just some stats, 65% aerial duels won, 71% defensive duels won, and he has nearly 11 successful defensive actions per 90. So you can tell that he is purely that defensive anchor midfielder. And again, I know obviously Casemiro has been a godsend since he's come in, but again, you've got to be looking for the future. You've got to be looking for, maybe this isn't a next summer, maybe this is in 2 summers. You've got to be scouting. This is what Manchester United need to be doing. But
we need to employ you, Charlie.
Well, if only. Yeah, we'd end up. I'd end up playing for him. But no, yeah. What do you think of Doucouré? Obviously, I'm guessing you would have seen him now. He's playing a little bit in the Premier League. But what do you think he's someone that Manchester United could look at in the future?
Do you know what? Honestly, I've been really, really impressed by Doucouré since he's come to Palace. When I've watched the Palace games and he's played, I've always thought he's stood out to me as a very good player. I didn't realise how young he was. You know.
Yeah, 22.
I didn't realise he was 22. So now that's come into my mind. I've thought, wow. You know what I mean? He's not a player that you'd say to someone, oh, we should sign Cheick Doucouré, and they'd go, come on, like let's aim for maybe a little bit higher than that. But people that actually like watch each game and watch players up close will know that he does have the ability.
Well, you've got to remember as well, like especially with Doucouré, like he was originally deployed as, and it does play as this defensive and central midfielder, but he does have experience at playing centre back, and I know that isn't something that we'd necessarily be wanting, but a centre back is something we need. But it kind of relates a little bit to Martin. Yeah, it kind of relates a little bit to Martinez. You know, he could actually do a job in that 6th role if we really wanted to, and even left back. He played for Ajax at one point.
But with Doucouré, just the last thing I would say on it is Casemiro. If he gets injured, what's going to happen? Because he's so important. He's definitely somebody that, again, would probably start off as a squad player, but can work his way into the team. Yeah.
We'll move on to a player called Manuel Ugarte. I think you say his name. Even younger this time, 21. Again, another defensive midfielder. His contract is up in 2026. Currently applying his trade at Sporting Lisbon. Now, this guy is, even though he's younger, I'd actually go and say he's a level up on Doucouré in terms of his defensive actions anyway. He averages 5 interceptions per 90, 13 successful defensive actions per 90, and nearly 12 recoveries per 90. So this guy is literally, by them stats, a younger Casemiro, like a proper destroyer in that midfield. He's also a very good passer and able to play out under pressure as well. Again, kind of reverting to that press-resistant type midfielder that we need. He's also quite a good playmaker and would fit well in a team that likes to build up from the back, which Ten Hag is going to want to do with this Manchester United team moving forward. Once he gets the players in place that he wants. You know, we saw it in the first 2 games, right? He wanted to build up from the back. He quickly realised that we don't have the players needed to do that, and has kind of reverted to a system that fans aren't necessarily too happy with in comparison to what he can do, but you've got to work with what you've got.
Get the squad in, and
exactly.
This guy could be part of that. I would say with him, he's definitely someone that Manchester United should be scouting. I think he's someone they should definitely be looking at. Them stats for his age are really, really good. Again, he's playing in the Portuguese league, so it's not like it's the Premier League like Doucouré's playing in, but it's still good stats. And for a young player like that, and obviously he's doing it in the Champions League as well, I think it's someone that we've talked about getting a box-to-box midfielder in, which we 100% do need. But Casemiro is brilliant for us at the moment, and no one is displacing him. But looking towards the future and scouting players, this is one we should have our eye on, especially looking at Erik ten Hag's style of play with that kind of one-touch, out-your-feet football. It's someone that we should be looking at.
Another thing as well, which I love to see with a player, is when they get the ball and they receive it, if they can receive it, on the turn, they play it forwards. That's the main thing, is none of this sideways passing, especially when you do have a forward option. Even if it is just a bounce pass to create another angle for whether it's a winger, whether it is your striker, it is forward passing, which, I mean, you kind of relate to Scott McTominay, someone that isn't stereotypically known for receiving the ball off the back four, turning and then putting someone in behind. That isn't what he's known for. But Manuel Ugarte is someone that does like to receive the ball, press resistant, and passes forward, which is well,
head on a swivel is what you need from your midfielders.
Yeah.
You don't want players that get the ball and then look up. You need people that are constantly looking around, and it's a really good talent to have.
Yeah.
And he has it. What's his nationality again?
He's Uruguayan.
Uruguayan,
I believe. Yes. Yeah. We'll move on to the last player, and a little bit we've kind of been discussing almost number 6s, number 8s. We'll move on to a guy called Luka Sučić. I believe you say his name. He's 20, so the youngest of the lot. Playing for RB Salzburg. He is basically a playmaker, so that number 10, almost Bruno Fernandes type role. He is contracted until 2025. Now, as I say, he's completely different in the sense of, obviously, he's a creative, young and cheap option. You're looking at around 20 million euros. I think you obviously can't compare a number 10 to a number 6, completely different responsibilities. But this guy is agile, he's quick, left-footed. You know what everyone says about left-footed players. They're always better than the right-footed ones.
Tell that to Fred.
But he actually goes completely against the left-footed thing. But again, this is a young player that can be moulded into the type of player that Erik ten Hag is wanting to build. Because at 20 years old, again, and we've been discussing on and off air in previous shows, you know, Sancho's, Antony's, and these guys are 22, 23, 21. But he's even younger than that. So you're looking at, if you bring him in, even if it's for a 5-year period, you just build him into what you want. And even if it's buying for 20 million, selling for 60 million, you know, these are things that Manchester United don't usually do.
No, we need to start doing it.
So, you know, and even for a playmaker, he is very dominant in the air. One thing, again, his key passes is he's nearly doing one, it doesn't actually sound like a lot, but nearly 1 key passes per 90.
That is, though, because it's affecting your team as a winning result at least once per game, which I think is good.
Which is, and for someone at 20 years old, you know, it's, and I know now the players are generally getting better, younger, isn't it? It's almost like, you know, it was an anomaly when Wayne Rooney came on the scene and your Theo Walcotts and stuff, but now it is almost like if you haven't broken into the first team, 17, 18, you're not considered that wonder kid. But, and I'm not saying this guy is going to be a wonder kid, but he's definitely someone to look at in my opinion. But out of the 5 names that I've been through, Sučić, Ugarte, Doucouré, Fafana and Enzo Fernandez, for me, in my opinion, there's one name that does stick out. It's Enzo Fernandez, 100%. Probably playing the most amount of minutes in terms of, and in correlation to the better team. He's obviously made it into the World Cup squad as well, and has scored. Would that be the person that you'd pick out of those 5 guys?
You don't even have to ask me that question. This guy, honestly, from the moment I started watching him, and you know when you do your own little scouting mission, when you start looking at him, the little compilation videos, watching the game, switching on to the Argentina game just to watch him, being annoyed when he's not starting. Every time I see him, he just looks like a Manchester United player. He's someone I desperately want us to sign. Going as far as to say, like, of course, I like the look of Jude Bellingham. I really do. And Jude Bellingham is priority number 1 signing. Yeah. But if we can't get him, I wouldn't be disappointed with this guy because he's got so much potential, so much ability, and he's got that Argentinian style in him that we really need. And I just think, guys, everyone now will know about Enzo Fernandez, but if you want to go and watch some of his clips or watch some of his games, I highly recommend to do so because I think there's a real talent there that someone's going to snap up quickly. Yeah, if it's not us, it will be another top. I'll be gutted if it's like an Arsenal or a City or something like that. Yeah, it'll be another giant. But Enzo Fernandez is going to be our pick out of the 5. Let us know your pick as to who you think would be your choice. I'm sure, as I said, some people won't know any of these guys. So do your own research as well. There might be other players out there that I've missed, we've missed, you know, looking at, you might think, and you can let us know down in the comments as well. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one.